happens. The squares are the nature of Mars, and Saturn is retrograde in Pisces. And so they're kind of moving towards each other. And that way, Saturn is retrograde 1742 of Pisces, and Mercury's bound, it looks like. Mars, though, is at 1742 Gemini in his own bound and decan. Bum, bum, bum. Who wants to take this one on? Sonia, I'm just glad that this is not your solar return chart.
Yes. Yeah, I dodged a bullet there, didn't I? Yeah, I've got like archetypally, it's like focus and discipline action. You can like really get going. Saturn brings the structure, he wants to work, and Mars brings the energy, so that's possible. And then again, we remember it's the opening square. So what's being shown to you now, it's the time when you start adjusting. I believe it's the opening square. I start questioning. I looked at all of these, but it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
What are we adjusting now that we started when they were together? But yeah, I've got like the archetype of like a spiritual teacher that punishes, so you're learning and you're enjoying the learning, but the methods aren't great. I mean, we've just had a bit of a scandal to do. I don't know I know you've got like a dancing show where people learn to dance, and then they dance every week and one's eliminated on the TV. And we've had a bit of a scandal because it's turned out some of the dancers' methods for teaching their celebrities weren't great, and complaints have been made behind the scenes and nothing was done. So it's all come to a boil now. It's been women complaining, and it turns out one was kicked, but I know like dancers in ballet schools, it can be very harsh, can't it? You can be wrapped or something to keep your posture right and everything. And it's that kind of energy of Saturn being really strict and hard, and Mars being really focused, I'm going to get this right. It's okay. You've got a whole cycle around, and this is the first correction point. So quite often I try and remember when things are hard, I think I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. This is okay, because this is what the astrology wants me to see right now. So if challenging things come up, it's okay. This is what you're meant to see. If there is something you're trying to focus on, work hard towards, you're being shown what's wrong and needs adjusting so that you can get to whatever goal you set when they were together.
And I wonder if that Mercury retrograde, Mercury at that anaretic degree, but moving back into Leo, kind of, it can see it by whole sign sextile. So it's like it can witness it, but it's like what needs to kind of be adjusted and fixed. And Mercury is kind of going back to help. It like through the it's not visible because it's now combust the sun at that point, but it can at least see that conjunction, the Mars Jupiter at least, so it can see that Gemini house. And I feel like that's helpful. There's also a square from Mercury moving into Uranus, so that's not ideal. And then Venus herself is kind of moving to the opposition of Saturn. So it's like all these pieces, it's like a clock kind of coming to form. Like what is a clock trying to tell? What time is it actually trying to tell? Because it feels like it's all moving into similar stories. It's involving a lot of pieces, so it's hard to kind of see the picture when there's so many moving parts. But that's like the squares and the oppositions, but especially the squares this month. They're like, okay, readjust. Mercury retrograde's there to kind of detour, so you have to readjust again. That's why I don't think it'll be easy, because we'll have a lot to do.
But just keep the patience with those readjustments. Just know that they're there for a good reason. They're not there just to try your patience and ruin your day.
Yeah.
It's, okay, this is going to help ultimately.
Yeah.
Well, Saturn's in retrograde too. So I know Saturn spends a lot of time in retrograde, but Saturn's doing that doubling back also. Where did I maybe skip a step, or where do I need to realign? So Saturn is often made out as a bad guy, so is Mars, but Mars can be that rocket fuel, and Saturn can just be that, I'm the teacher, but I made a mistake, and here I am to fix it also.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be nice. I mean, Saturn's in a really nice decan there. It's the Nine of Cups, it's the tarot card. And Kira gives us contentment, Austin Coppock talks about the net, but in a positive way of like gathering everything together that we need. And the Wild Way says wish fulfillment. So whatever Saturn's going back over and working towards, it definitely is those two together, bringing your dreams into being, you know, bringing a strong foundation. I feel, you know, that's where the stories of the decans can really help us see a bigger story.
Yeah. And it's still within a degree and some minutes square of its own ruler, Jupiter there. So squares for everybody. You get a square and you get a square.